Hi everybody, it's Bethany from Cranberry Corn. I thought I'd take a moment tonight to talk about something that happened to me earlier this week, and I've talked a little bit about it on video, but I thought I'd go into it since it's been a while. For those of you who don't know, who have not been on this channel or don't follow me or whatever, I have a condition. It's an autoimmune disease, and it's called Hashimoto's. And what it basically is your body attacks your thyroid in order to protect the body, treating it sort of like an alien or foreign entity in the body. Much as if, you took something out, say you had a transplant of some sort, same idea. So this is more common than most people think. It's amazing to me how many people I've actually talked to who have this condition, and even within my own community here in Maine, who they're like, wow, I didn't realize you had that. I've got that also. So the question would be, how did I get this? Well, I'm not sure if I know what the origins of it are, but I think that there's a large part of me that makes me realize that I had a big part in this immune system acting up. And that is, at the time when it started, I had a job that was working retail. It was extremely stressful for me. I'd been doing it for a really long time. My kids were growing up. I was exhausted all the time. And in the beginning, I remember going to the doctor and saying, this isn't right. Something is not right. I'm absolutely exhausted. And he said, you've got 2 little kids. You're trying to be a mom. Of course you're exhausted. You know, who'd have thought? It's no wonder you're exhausted. And he would say, you just need to take it easy. Well, of course that's not going to happen if you have 2 little kids. In the meantime, I had anxiety that was getting worse and worse and worse. And I started having panic attacks. And that was really scary because that whole, if you've never had one, it's impossible to explain it to someone so they'll understand what it feels like. It's really scary, and I can remember not being able to breathe and feeling like I was going to pass out because I couldn't breathe. I could not catch my breath. And again, I'd go back to the doctor and I'd say, I have anxiety. I'm still exhausted. What's going on? And he was the sweetest man, but he'd say, this is just life happening to you. This is just the conditions that you're under. And I would say, I don't think so. So eventually I convinced him to start running tests. And we did every kind of test we could think of. We had CTs, we had ultrasounds, we had everything we could think of to try. He did blood work. He could not figure it out. I was getting frustrated. And the more frustrated I got, the worse it seemed to get. I got so I was sleeping maybe a couple hours a night, if that, because the anxiety was so bad. And my hair started to fall out, which didn't help either. And so one day I was standing in the shopping line, the checkout line at the grocery store, and there was a Woman's World magazine standing there, and it's on the stand there, and it said, something to the effect of, do you have Hashimoto's? Is your thyroid, it was something about, is your thyroid bad? And I started reading it, and I started going through the symptoms of Hashimoto's and checking them off one by one by one, and realized something was really not right. And the hair loss was there, the unbelievable weight gain that I was going through, the anxiety, all of it, even down to a lot of people who have Hashimoto's will have this symptom that your eyebrows from about the middle to the outer edges fall out. And it's a strange thing that happens. And I thought, oh, yeah, this is me. So I actually took the magazine to my doctor and said, take a look at this. And he looked at me and said, okay, we'll try a blood test. We'll see if we can figure this out. And in the meantime, he did a palpable test on my neck. Or palpable, where they test everything here. And he said, I think you've got some lumps in there. I was like, oh, good, just what I want. So he sent me to an endocrinologist. I went in, they did some ultrasound on it. They did some blood test. And they did find that I had 3 nodules in there. Of course, not knowing how long I'd had them, they didn't know how rapid they were growing, but we were going to watch them. So they set it up for me to have a biopsy on it. In the meantime, they came back with the blood test, and the blood test said I showed the antibodies for Hashimoto's. And I remember getting this call at work and thinking, there we go. I have an answer. After it had been years that I had been trying to figure this out and could not get this answer that I needed. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I have an answer. When you don't know, that is so much worse. So they did the biopsy. If you ever had a needle aspiration, I can attest for it. I mean, I'm not kind of a chicken, but I've had a lot of medical work over the years, and you can get through anything if you have to. And it really wasn't painful. It wasn't bad at all. They do the needle aspiration, and they came back and said they were benign. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? The one where it's not cancerous. Yeah. So I remember saying to the endocrinologist, okay, so I have Hashimoto's. What do I do now? Do I change my diet? How do I handle this? And she said, you just live with it. And I went, that's not an answer. I want to know how I'm going to be able to feel better. And she said, I said, do I go on a strict diet? How do I do this? And she said, no, just take it easy. She said, you may not be able to exercise very much. And I was like, there's something wrong here. This doesn't seem right. So it ended up, I did a lot of the research myself. And I'll tell you, there's a wealth of information out there on the internet, as there is about everything you could ever want. There's a website called hypothyroidmom.com, and I found so much information, good information there. And I began working with my doctor. So what happened was my thyroid function was decreasing as this autoimmune was attacking my thyroid. So as that was happening, I was getting sick. I was not feeling, I had no energy, all of these symptoms. I was hypothyroid. So we began working to bring up my thyroid function. And I do take Synthroid. There's a lot of people who don't don't like Synthroid. There's some people who can take levothyroxide. Yeah, I'm gonna say it wrong. And then there's another one. I think it's Natoroid, which is more natural. But for me, this was what seemed to work. And I have to go back every once in a while, have my blood test, make sure my levels are where they're supposed to be. If they, get too high or they drop too low, then we know we have to adjust the medicine. And she's right. This is something that I'm going to have to live with for the rest of my life. But that didn't mean that I stop and sit and decide that I'm going to be a victim, because that's not how I do anything. So eventually I realized, though, that I couldn't keep going the way I was supposed to be going. Well, the way I was going. Not necessarily the way I was supposed to be going. So I ended up switching jobs. I went from a very physical job to an office job. And then I ended up in the job I'm in now, which is also a desk job. So that was a huge change. It got me out of the anxiety that I had from the position I was in. And looking back, and like I said, I realized that so much of that was me being afraid to take a chance and move out of that position. I couldn't even, this is years later. I've had this diagnosis for, I think it's 6 years. And we keep adjusting, and it's not going bad. I still have the polyps. They've not been taken out. They seem to be the same as what they were. If they grow, we'll keep an eye on it. If they grow, they'll come out. I'm okay with that. If they eventually if I have to take thyroid out altogether, that's okay too. I can live with that. So yeah, but that was what eventually led me to keto, which I talked a little bit about last week. It's the only thing that I have found that actually allows me to lose weight, because I was just gaining weight. There was just nothing I could do about it. It didn't matter what I ate or what I didn't eat or how much exercise I got. It didn't matter. Nothing budged it. It didn't go anywhere. It was still just continuing. So yeah, so that's my Hashimoto story. This week I had a flare-up on it, and part of the reason why I had a flare-up goes back to that original reasoning, and that was I was under a considerable amount of self-induced stress. We're working really hard around the house to try and get things buttoned up on the outside, because winter's coming. We know this. I'm trying to get those last-minute projects done. I was running. In the meantime, we're going through this journey where we're trying to pare down everything in the house, make plans for when we eventually go on the road. I'm doing research. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Then I took on the channel, and because I'm always a sucker for one more thing. And so I don't remember if it must have been Sunday night into Monday. It was Sunday afternoon. I started to get my ankles were swelling. And I can feel the fluid building up. And that's one of the things when your body goes on this attack and tries to protect you, it will create fluid, because that's a cushion. It's like putting an airbag on something. And I can always especially feel it across the back of my shoulders. It gets extremely puffy, and there's a lot of swelling back there. Right across the back of the shoulders, my ankles, I was hurting all over. And I said, Keith, this isn't right. This is not me doing too much. This is a flare. My internal temperature goes up. It's like being on fire from the inside out. I hurt all over my arms, my legs. It's more in the muscles. It's deep within the muscles that it hurts. I've heard it compared to something similar to a Lyme disease. Although not having ever had that, I can't guarantee that that's what that is. My mother-in-law has lupus. I think it's sort of similar to that. So yeah, so that happened on Sunday into Monday, and then I proceeded to go into one of the most stressful weeks I've had in a long time. Work was just crazy. So I have pushed through, and I'm feeling better. I'm starting to be able to get some rest and build myself back up again, and feeling like it's working. So that's good. So it's part of after you have one of these flares is that you have to get rid of the fluid, because if you don't, it becomes very dangerous. So yeah, so I've been working on getting rid of the fluids, making sure that I'm eating healthy and all of that, trying to combat it. So yeah, so that's where we stand with the Hashimoto's and this week's flare that I had. If at any time you feel that you may have an issue like this one, if you are extremely tired, and when I say tired, I mean I could not get out of bed. I'd go to work, I'd come home, I'd go back to bed. There was nothing in between. I was not dealing with my family. I was not dealing with anything. All I could do was sleep when I would get out of work. If this is happening, be your own advocate. Keep pushing. That was the thing that I learned, was I had to be my own advocate. I had to look for the answers, because they see me for 10 minutes at a time in a doctor's office, and they only hear what's coming out of my mouth. So they may not understand it. He was a dear, dear man. Unfortunately, he's passed away. But I know that he would have done anything if he could have made me feel better at that point. So when I did bring it to him, he's like, okay, we'll do this. So that's it for that. We are going into the weekend soon. Thank you. So again, we're still going to try and finish up more of the projects around the house here. I still have some more deck to paint. Or it's the small steps on the end of the house, but I do have to get those done. And I've been putting it off, but I need to do that as well. I am going to try and take it easy. Saturday, I am going to Lee's Family Trailer in Windham, Maine, is doing a women's event where they're bringing in vloggers who have experience of being out on the road by themselves and camping, or camping. It's centered around women empowering themselves to go out and do this. It ended on me. So as I said, I'm headed out there to do this event. I'm going to this event at Lee's Family Trailer on Saturday the 19th. I'm going with my friend Michelle. Hopefully I'll get some good footage and I'll bring it back so you can all take a look at it. In the meantime, I wish you all the best, and blessings from Maine. Bye-bye. It ended on me. So as I said, I'm headed out there to do this event. I'm going to this event at Lee's Family Trailer on Saturday the 19th. I'm going with my friend Michelle. Hopefully I'll get some good footage and I'll bring it back so you can all take a look at it. In the meantime, I wish you all the best, and blessings from Maine. Bye-bye.